these two methods are in red color because we have not yet defined. So just single click on it and select the first one. Just press escape and then single click on Parse XML and create Parse XML method. And since if mode is equal to 1, we have to call Parse JSON method. We will be defining this first. So before looking into Parse JSON method, let us understand what a JSON file is and how it looks like. So for that, I will just exit the presentation mode. Click on project here and inside an assets folder, select input.json and double click. It will get displayed. And JSON stands for Java Script Object Notation. So what here it will do is, it is mainly used to transmit data in web applications, and it has a standard format to represent the data, that is key value pairs. So if I come to the key, it is always enclosed in a double quotes and which is a string. And after colon, we write the pair, that is its pair. The value can be a number, Boolean value, or a string, or an array, or it can also be an object. How to tell that it is an object is, we have surrounded the set of key value pairs by set of flower brackets, which tells that it is an object, and whole of this key value, or that is key and the object, is surrounded by another set of flower brackets, which makes this as JSON object. So now we have to extract this data and display in the activity or view activity when it is selected. So I'll go to view activity.java and just click on presentation mode. So once we have seen with that, first we have to open that JSON file. So for that, which is an get assets folder, so we will be using get assets method and open, which takes a file name as a string. So that is nothing but input.json, which we have used previously, that is input.json file, or named it as. Once we have used this, whatever this returns a set of bytes, which we have to put it in a object of input stream. So I will just assign whatever written from after opening this file to a input stream object. So now this is throwing some error. So let me check. So I'll go with surround with try catch method if that file is not present, so that we have this catch to handle with that error. And next, once we have opened the file successfully, we will put that whatever data that is there in input stream in a byte array. So for that, let me create a byte array first. I will give the name as data, which is equal to byte of what should be the size that I have to create is this object, that is input stream, I will give. And there is a method called available, which returns the size of this input stream object. So for so much, I'm creating a byte array of so much size. So once I have done with that, I have to dump whatever there in input.json, that is data, to this byte array. So that is done by input stream dot read method, which takes data as the input, that is byte array as the input. So whatever there in the input, that is input.json data, we are dumping that into this byte array. Next, from that time, I'm just telling it is an byte array, which we cannot process it properly until we convert that into a string format. So for that, I will be creating one string object, that is, I will call this as read data. Of what? What should I convert to string? So that is nothing but the data which contains byte array. So we are converting into a string format. So use, or we can also print it. So use log dot e, which takes, let me give tag as data, and the string is Parse JSON. So every time what it has to print is our read data. So just let me run this and show you the output. So once we have this parse JSON, just click on parse JSON data. We will not get any data displayed here because we have just extracted. We have not put in this activity. So let me go to logcat, that is the here we are printing what we have extracted and converted to string. So let me click on logcat. So I just look into, this is what we are printing, that is read data, final converted to string. So now whatever we have taken and converted is in a string format, but we have to extract something from JSON, means it should be in the form of JSON object format, right? So for that we have to again convert this back to JSON format. So for that, I'll just minimize this, and please make a note, this is capital I because I've given capital input.json. It was like this, so I just changed it to capital I so that file name matches while opening the file. So once we have done with that, whatever the string that we have converted, we have to convert that to a JSON object. So how to do is, we have a class in Android, that is JSON object. We create an object of this class. JSON object, and for which we pass read data, that is our string converted data, that is read data, as a parameter. So now whatever there in the read data would have been converted to JSON object format, and it is throwing some error. Let me go to presentation mode. Just single click here. I'll add catch class. Okay, so after conversion, we have to go to the main object, that is employee. We have already seen inside employee we had city name, latitude, longitude. So we will try to access that key or with employee. So how to do that is JSON object, okay, let me do like this. With respect to this object which we have created, JSON object, I will call the method called as get JSON object. With respect to that, I have to give a key, that is string name, for which I have to retrieve the elements. So that is nothing but our main key was employee. So that I will give as input. Okay, so whatever this returns is an object, because I told you the pair of that key was an object. So I will just create one JSON object to store whatever retrieved from this employee. Let me call it as employee object. Okay, so once we have this employee object or EMP object will have all the city name, latitude, longitude, temperature, humidity, all that key value pairs inside it. So we will retrieve one after the other and put it in, replace it in the JSON data of view activity, where we just have to display. So how to do that is, first let me show how to retrieve it. It is in the same manner. Instead of JSON object, it is there in employee object, right? So I will tell employee object dot, here we knew it was an object, so we used get JSON object, but here inside employee city name is a string, so we will be using get string method, which takes a name as a or string name as a parameter. What should I retrieve is city name. So let me write that city underscore name. I'll put a semicolon here. And whatever I have retrieved from this will be a city name that is stored in that object that is inside this employee, maybe Mysore or Bangalore, which I have already given. So that I should not store, but I should put that in the place of label of JSON data in view activity. So how to do that is, I will just tell what I have given previously, LJSON. So I will use this LJSON dot set text method, which takes whole of this as a parameter. I'll just cut and paste it inside it. So we are setting whatever we have retrieved from city name, get string of city name. And just to tell label that it is a city name, I will also add a string that is city name. And then total this employee object, and after printing the city name, I should also have one new line added to it. So I will just add that new line. So what have we done? We have retrieved inside this employee object, that is with city name, that is if I call it as Mysore, that would have been retrieved, and in the place of LJSON, that is in that text view part, city name with Mysore would have got as a replaced, or set text will set that text there. And after that, I should also have to add latitude, longitude, temperature and humidity. So I will add new line after this. Once we know this one line, it is just a replication of all other things. So I will just copy this line and replicate for all other 4 attributes. So one more time. Okay, so second one was, let me also show you that file so that it will be easy for us to retrieve. So if I go here, city name we have finished. So next is latitude. So I will just copy this latitude and come to this, and I will replace this string, that is just to display it is a latitude here, and with respect to that I just have to retrieve from that object alva. So I will just copy here also. The same thing if I go with next value, it is longitude. So I will copy that string and place it here. And next we have temperature. And the last one is humidity. So now what have we done is every time if I tell set text, first time it will put retrieve city name, that is with city name as key, it will retrieve Mysore, and next it will set it. And as soon as that I'm telling set text latitude, what is the latitude? It is telling 12.295. So it will replace Mysore and set 12.95 and then replace that with longitude, replace that with temperature, and then finally replace that with 90%. I don't want that to happen. I want everything, all data together. So once after setting this set data, I just have to tell not set. Instead of that, I have to call append method. And similarly for all others. So this completes our parse JSON method. So let me run our application for this. Click on JSON data because we have written code for it. And we are getting the output, but it is overlapping. So what I will do is I will just reduce this size and I will also change color so that we have a difference between that. So for that, what should I do? Go to activity view.xml where we have written this. So it is this which is getting replaced. So I will just minimize, not minimize, I'll just go for design and part, and with respect to that attributes. So it is of text size 24. So maybe I will reduce it to 14 and I will also change, let it be bold, and maybe color also I will change so that I will have a difference there. Okay. Similarly, I will do for XML data also. Change the color and change the size to 14. So now if I come back here and rerun my application, when we click parse JSON data, we have our output in place.